because you end up debuting, you attack Sting, and it's a hot angle. What do you remember? Because obviously I know you're going in, you're not happy because of the situation.
Right, I wasn't happy, but still, man, the old fluid gets to going, and you're going out in front of people in Baltimore Arena, 15,000 people there, and you jump the barricade and you do the dirty deed on Sting, which really pissed a lot of people off. And boy, did that feel good. Well, I'm getting to do what I love to do.
And you were, there hadn't really been a big name from WWF who'd went to WCW. So at that point, you were kind of the first.
Yeah.
What was Sting like to work with?
He was easy. He was easy. He didn't give me any problems. He went out and did his job. I did mine. We got really screwed on that spin the wheel, make the deal coal miner's glove match. Oh, that's scary.
Before we get to that, what was the reaction like when you get to WCW from the wrestlers? Was there any reaction of this as a WWF guy?
It was a little strange. They were kind of standoffish, because I was the first big name to do it. And they didn't know that I'd gotten a contract.
I mean, then you're doing the match with Sting, you do the vignettes, spin the wheel, make the deal, and it's a big success. Like it does record pay-per-view numbers, but they don't tell you beforehand that it's going to be a coal miner's glove match. So when do you find out? How do you find out? And what's your reaction?
We're like, oh, man, are you serious? Because number one, Jake the Snake ain't crawling no pole. Snakes don't do that. I'm not crawling that pole. I couldn't crawl it if I wanted to. I'm a snake. I don't do that. So Sting, you're going to have to crawl the pole.
And you mentioned it earlier. So you're in Dallas and you're doing a tag match involving Sting in the Sportatorium. And all of a sudden, a guy with a walker, an old 71-year-old guy, gets up and starts shooting.
Yeah, starts shooting at us. Yeah. As soon as I heard that first shot, I'm like, gun, exit, stage left. And I dove out of the ring, and I got up underneath the ring. And I'm sitting underneath the ring, and I'm hearing Sting, woo! Woo! I'm like, get out of the ring, he's got a gun. He's not trying to shoot me. Yeah, but he's a bad shot. Because he got off 3 shots before the police got him.
And the show continued.
Yep. Oh, you want to hear a funny one? I go to the back, and they've got the guy in back handcuffed. And the police come to me, and they said, do you want to press charges? Do I want to press charges? Oh, no, just put him back out in the audience. Reload the mother. Yeah, I want to press charges. He's just trying to kill me. They didn't never do anything. He got in trouble for discharging a weapon in a public event. What happened to attempted murder? Oh, it's just a snake. Nobody gives a.
Last time with WCW, I wanted to ask you, you do the big Halloween Havoc match, and shortly later you're gone. And I know you had your own stuff going on in life. But do you think if the contract had worked out the way it was supposed to originally, do you think things would have been different?
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, God, yeah. You know, it's hard to go home to your wife when you think that you're going to be going up there, because she was there when he tore the contract up. How does that make me feel? Makes me feel like about that big. But I ain't got nothing to stop this guy or do whatever. because it went from being a multi-million-dollar deal to being $1,000 a day. Wow. That sucks. And I felt like I'd let my family down. You know, I already left the WWF. I can't go back there. Where else is there? There's not anywhere else, Jake. So Jake got.
With Bill Watts, when you were there the short time, and he rips up the contract, you guys are not on the best terms. How is he, as a guy in charge, trying to motivate you? Does he even try?
He didn't even try to motivate me. He just kept the away from me because he knew how I felt. But he also knew what kind of wrestler I was. That I was going to go out there and give 100%. I still do my job whether it was $1,000 a night or $20,000 a night. I'm still going to give the same. He knew that. That's how it is with me, you know. I always gave everything that I could.
And when you were there in WCW, you worked with Cactus Jack a little bit. I mean, he was kind of your protege. What was Mick Foley like in 1982? Did you see the sort of star power in him of what he would go?
Oh, I seen the star power in him. You know, I mean, that was undeniable. But I told him, I said, you got to save something for later, man. You got to quit doing these dives on the concrete floor and this wrecking your hips. I just got to do it. It's what I do. Yeah, well, there's lion tamers in the circus that stick their head in the lion's mouth, but I wouldn't recommend doing that, you know. And I damn sure wouldn't recommend jumping off the top of a steel cage and going through a table and lacerating your kidney. It does not take a great wrestler to jump off the top of a cage. It takes an idiot. Plain and simple. I remember when he tore his ear off. You guys know that? He tore his ear off. I called him. I said, man, you got to really be irritated. You were acting irresponsible. Is there any chance they can fix that, or is it irreplaceable? Yeah.
You do end up going back to WWF in 1996, and I know that you sort of said you were out of shape, you weren't in a place to do it, but you came back, and in the '96 Rumble, you get one of the biggest reactions of the night. What was it like going back that day and kind of getting that reaction from the crowd?
Getting that reaction from the crowd was, God, man, that felt so good. I still remember that, just getting chills up and down my spine. But it got me a lot of heat, too. Well, there was a lot of jealous in that locker room. Did not like that. Comes back after being gone, blah, 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 blah. What the is your problem, man? We're working for the same company. Jealousy has killed more people than war ever has. No doubt about it.
You end up in WrestleMania 12. You did a 6-man tag. It's you and Yokozuna and Ahmed against Vader, Bulldog, and Owen. And I think it was because Yokozuna and Vader couldn't have a singles match, so they put you guys in there. What are your memories of being in a team with Ahmed and Yokozuna against Vader?
I knew that I was going to be doing all the work. Yokozuna can't even get in the ring. It's too big. Couldn't get through the ropes.
What was Ahmed Johnson like?
A loose cannon. He was wired differently, man. He was a nut. A bona fide nut. Oh my God, man. He had more plastic surgery done than any woman I know. He had implants on his triceps, implant on his bicep, implants on his calves, implants on his chest. And of course, He's telling you, hey, don't touch my implants. Well, there ain't nowhere to touch but your belly button. I'm gonna work your belly button for 20 minutes.
What a visual. You said once that Bulldog is the closest that you've ever come to having a fight backstage with Davey Boy Smith.
Yeah.
What was that over?
Yeah. Davey Boy had been mistreating the snake. When I would leave the locker room, he would pick it up and toss it across the room and do to it. And that's just up. He would light cigarettes and put them inside the snake bag and burn the snake, hoping that when the snake does come out, he's going to be pissed off enough to bite me. Yeah, that's up, man. That's up, you know. I mean, I could have gave Matilda laxative, but I didn't. I thought about it, but I didn't. You know, and I hate the fact that Davey Boy died, you know. I mean, shouldn't have. But, you know, he had a family too. He's got kids that love him very much. And that matters to me. But the that he was doing in the locker room, man.
I did want to ask you something about the locker room in '96 when you were there, because the Click was behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And you were there when the curtain call happened in MSG. You were wrestling Steve Austin that night.
Yeah.
What do you remember about finding out about the curtain call, and what was the reaction like?
I didn't like it. And there was a lot of other people who didn't like it, including a lot of old timers. Thought it was man, you know. And I think those guys were being very selfish. Because number one, they weren't the only on the card, man. Believe it or not, sometimes they don't come to see you, Sean, or you, Diesel, or you, Razor, or whatever. But it's just wrong. It was wrong, and those guys are still wrong for doing it. But I don't think they give a They wanted what they wanted.
Was the Click backstage in WWF, was it a problem?
Oh, sure it was, because everybody knew that if they're going to get what they want, you know, it didn't matter. They picked and chose what they would do. They got special treatment. Up, man.
I never thought I'd ask someone this question, but why do you think Vince had such a hard-on for Shawn Michaels?
Oh, Jake, shut up now. A heart wants what a heart wants. Stop. I don't know, man.
You end up, obviously you leave WWF in '97, but you do an appearance in 2005 where you come back and you do a highlight reel, and Randy Orton gives you the RKO. It is the first time we'd seen you in WWF or WWE for years. What was that like going back at that point? Did it feel like there was kind of, there was something good there to come back to?
Yeah, there was, man. Plain and simple, they had to go out and beg the people to quit chanting, "We want Jake," so they could get on with the TV taping. They held them up for like 20 minutes. They would not stop chanting, "We want Jake, we want Jake." And that, my friend, felt so good. They finally had to promise them that they would bring me back out during the main event, which at the time is meant for me to come back out in the ring and put the snake on somebody, which is what I did. I put it on Dean Ambrose, which was fun.
Well, I don't think people were expected in 2020 for you to turn up in AEW to confront Cody Rhodes. How did that come about, and talk about that, coming out that night?
It just came about because they were looking for someone to manage Lance Archer. And they asked me to do a vignette for the girls'
Casino Battle Royal.
Casino Battle Royal or whatever. And they wanted me to do a vignette. So I did that. They liked what I did. Well, then they come back and said, look, we want you to manage Lance Archer for this thing with Cody Rhodes. Okay. And they told me what they would give me. Damn. Sounds good to me. And it was for 2 months. And I went, did my job. Of course, cut the promos and stuff for Lance. And then about 6 weeks into it, they come to me and they hand me a new contract. And they asked me to sign for a year. Wow. That wasn't expected. I was quite amazed that it had happened, quite grateful. Shortly before that contract was up, they came back and asked me to re-sign for 2 more years. And after that one was up, they asked me to sign for another year. And after that one was up, they didn't even ask me. They just signed me up for another year. So I'm still employed by AEW. Lance is too. And we're just waiting in the wings. Whenever the time is right, we'll come back out there and do somebody in.
This is probably a silly question, but when you came out that first night and did the promo with Cody,
yeah,
you knew you'd get a reaction, but were you expecting the reaction to be that?
I didn't expect the reaction I got. Nobody could have expected that. I mean, my God, it had been years since I've been on television. Think about it, man. It had been, 20 years. And that was the most incredible feeling, walking to the ring that night and touching that mat, getting in the ring and smelling the smells that you smell in a wrestling match. It felt like I was home. And it really felt good.
And then, because right after you debuted, COVID happened, so there was a lockdown, things are shut down. But there's an infamous angle that you did with Brandy Rhodes, where you put the snake on her.
Yeah.
And I believe TNT weren't very happy about it. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. Well, they want me to put the snake on her. No problem with me, bro. I don't mind dropping her on a girl. And they didn't like the way that I got over and hovered over her. But I wasn't touching. So that's when they came back with the bad. That still sucks. Snake's got a right to make money. Doesn't he?
Were you surprised when Cody left AEW and went to WWE?
No. It'll always be like that until AEW establishes themselves to the point to where they're level with Vince. There's still one number one company, and that's WWE, which stands for Worst Wrestling Ever.
Since you brought that up, so last night someone asked in the crowd about, who's your favorite WWE wrestler, and somebody in the crowd shouted Roman Reigns, and you went, please. Why?
I just don't like Roman with what he does out there. I think that he has better stuff in him yet. But I think that maybe he got a little fat. Got a little lazy. Sometimes when you're given so much, you quit producing. And I feel like that either that or he just needed better writers. Maybe that was it. I forget that today that you don't think about your they write everything for you. I couldn't wrestle today, man, because I'd be going crazy. I want to do my own interviews, man. I don't want nobody else writing for me. Away, man. Nobody knows Jake like Jake.